Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Driveway Engineer. I'm JR. Today we're going to talk about Cummins swapping. Why? Because why not? I consistently see people telling kids on the internet, you better double your budget, take whatever you think it's going to cost and double it. And it's, swaps, period, are kind of whatever you make them. You are the main factor that determines how much you spend on a swap. If you're good with taking a running engine that you know runs, that you saw run, and putting it in your junk, your swap will be a lot cheaper. If you feel like you have to finger bang every single nut and bolt of your most reliable engine ever, legendary reliability, million-mile engine, can't possibly put it in without touching everything, your LS, your Toyota, your Cummins, these great, fantastic engines that people want to have because you can't kill them, why do you have to screw with them before you swap them in? If you want to, that's fine. But obviously, when you throw $5,000 in machine shop costs at something, you escalate the budget. I digress. So anyway, this is Marv. You guys know Marv if you're regular watchers of the channel. I've had it for a few years now, I think 3 years. It's just finally reached that 85-90% point of completion. It has a Cummins in it, it has an interior in it, it has a cab in it, it runs, it shifts, it does not stop or drive. I need to do the mid drive shaft from the transfer case to the unit bearing, and I need to do, what else do I need? Oh, I need to wire up the brake, or figure out the brakes. I need to plumb the brakes, the hydro boost, and I've stripped the steering box. So I've been saying that I would have about $6,500 in the completed swap, including the cost of the truck. I'm trying to find pictures of the interior. I apparently didn't keep them. But it's, a typical OES Ford Super Cab. I think it's a nice truck. Peanut and coconut like it. I don't have any pictures of the interior right now for some reason. But there you have it. It's fine. It's painted with Rust-Oleum. It's a work truck. I'm going to smash shit into it. So I'm going to give you a cost breakdown real quick of what I have. By the way, Marv is Cummins swap, Super Duty axle swap, ZF5 swap. It has all of the cool things, but none of the coolest things, right? It's not a common rail. It's not a P-pump. It's not a ZF6. It's a ZF5. It's a Super Duty chassis. I'm never going to put 37s on it. Managing my expectations. This is one truck of 4 projects for me. I have a family. I have a home to maintain. We have other hobbies, and we enjoy camping and the outdoors and trips and other things. So, that mitigates the prior. If I had one truck, it would probably be the sweetest thing in the world. But I don't. I have 4. So, no further rambling. Let's get into the cost list. These are legitimate costs. Everything that I purchased for this truck is on this channel. So if you're new to the channel, you can go and find where, there's literally a picture of the local tow companies who I bought this truck from for $700. And there's a video of them delivering it. The ZF5, there's a video of me pulling it. That was when so 2 things I'm going to say here. I didn't count any of the costs that I spent on 7.3 stuff that I decided to throw away. I changed directions. That's my fault for not going in with a plan and executing the plan. That is a thing that many, many people have struggles with in this hobby, myself included. I did not have a clear-cut plan. This is what I want, and this is how I'm going to get there. So I spent more than I needed to. But this is what I actually spent to have a running Cummins in my truck. So, the truck was $700. It was a rock box. It was terrible. It was a piece of crap. We went to Lawton, Oklahoma, and bought a cab. It was $350. We did that on the channel. I'm not counting the fuel costs to go there because we had a nice road trip. We had a good time. I enjoy my wife's company, and I enjoy Peanut and Coconut's company. So I don't think of it as a chore. My vacation was a legitimate vacation for me, and I had a good time. So, $700 truck, $175 ZF5. The adapter, I'm just going to say get your adapter from Mike Fuchs on the different Cummins groups and pay him $500. I made my own. It wound up being like $430 after material and machine time, and it wasn't worth it. Just buy one from the man. I did not make mounts, or I did not buy mounts, and I didn't buy any accessory mounts. And there's plenty of room in my truck for the stock Cummins configuration, the standard low mount AC. So I don't know why people are putting them up on top of the engine, other than I think that preserves their stock lines, AC lines. But my Cummins accessories fit in my truck just fine. The clutch pressure plate throwout bearing, I actually have that order up here. Well, Rock Auto's trying to log me out. But this is what I bought. So you can pause right here, because using a ZF5, I can use the 7.3 clutch stuff. So this is the clutch kit that I used in Impact. I did not use South Bend clutch, and I didn't use a $1,000 clutch for my 300 horsepower engine. And I got the cheapest clutch and master that were pre-bled. The total on that was, I believe, $385. Whatever I have in here, $387. When I bought the flywheel, I bought that's also still up, so I'll show you guys. Yes, I'm still here, don't log me out. I bought the flywheel, I bought the timing cover gasket set, because my injection pump was all screwy and I needed to go inside the timing cover. And I bought a rear seal because it was literally caked up with stuff, and I think it was like $12. If you have clear and obvious evidence that your thing is not working, your injectors are leaking, you can see them spraying out, your seal, you can see it's all caked up with grease, sure, by all means, change it. But I had no reason to believe that my rod bearings were screwed up, so I did not bother. I never took this engine off the oil pan the entire time I've owned it. I've never tilted it. It showed up on a 6x6 block. That's how I brought it back on the trailer. And I set it in my shop like that, and I worked on it like that, and I put it in the truck. I never cracked the oil pan off this thing, because it runs. So anyway, this is the flywheel that you want for a ZF5. And then what you have to do is have the bore right here. You have this opened up for a standard 6603 bearing. That's the part number. The machine shop that did this for me did it. I put $50 in here. I think they did it for like 20 or 25. And I think I bought them donuts or lunch or something like that, because they were awesome about it. But that's all you have to do. And they took the bearing and they cut it deeper for me and wider, because it's a little bit offset. So yeah, Super Duty axles. I bought an axle for like $75, and it was missing the hubs and some stuff. And I really wanted to have a dually. I wanted to I wanted the biggest truck, basically. No particular reason. Just wanted the biggest truck. So looking around for dually axles, I found a whole chassis for sale from an F350 cabin chassis. And my wife was like, why don't you just put our cab on that chassis? Because I was telling her about chopping all the rivets and stuff off. And I'm like, well, that would never work. And I measured the front mounts, the front cab mounts, and they were exactly the same. So I'm like, well, I could make a little mount. And then I remembered that somebody in my Facebook group, a gentleman named Lee, had done a similar. So I reached out, I'm like, hey, didn't somebody do this? I couldn't remember his name at the time. And he chimed in, he's like, yeah, and this is how I made my rear mounts work. So we wound up putting the cab, our new cab, on a new chassis. So the $700 I spent for the truck is essentially, I don't have the truck. I have a different truck. Anyway, so then $350 for the cab down in Oklahoma. The front clip and bumper I pieced together. I got the bumper off Marketplace for like $100. And then the front clip I pieced together when we were in Florida about a year ago now. And there's videos of that stuff. It's all U-pull, $25 fenders and stuff. And then I took a bunch of bolts because their bolts were way better than mine. I have a, whatever it's called, a 40-20-40. I have a bucket seat, a fancy bucket seat in my truck. That was $80 instead of the bench. So that seat was $80 out of the junkyard, and it's on the channel. My VE pump, the smoke screw was like silicone shut, and it had been tampered with and screwed with a lot, and I couldn't get it to run right. And it turned out I had 2 injector lines swapped. But I bought another pump from eBay, a Chinese pump, Temu pump, and it's been fine. It took the THD fuel pin, no problem. It's fired up the truck, it runs well, good response, no complaints about it. Injectors are from the Hungry Diesel. They are the smallest injectors that THD makes for a VE pump, because I'm really not trying to make like a zillion horsepower. They had a sale on these. I think that they're trying to like get people to hip to some of this stuff. The typical injector that people would do with a VE pump. So I got, was it these? I think I got these. Yeah, I got these, and they were on sale. They were way cheaper than this. When I looked it up, $375. Yeah, they were on sale for like a Black Friday sale or something. So it says they're a stock, a factory 6-hole injector that's been extrude honed. So I'm good with that. Like I said, I'm really not trying to make a lot of power. I think that the typical injector that people buy, I want to say, we'll just look so I don't sound stupid. It's a 5x12. That's the first step that most people go to. They go to a 5x12 or a 5x14. So I'm under that. And I'm under what they would call a 370 or a marine injector too. I'm barely over stock, which there's still enough fuel for me to make plenty of power. Like, should be about 300 horsepower with my HE 351 turbo. Should be about 300 tire and about 750 foot-pounds of torque, which should be plenty for Marv to jerk shit down the road. And really, my main concern is, can I merge on the freeway without getting run the fuck over? Like, I'm not actually trying to have a rocket truck. So, fuel pin came from the Hungry Diesel. Turbo, I pulled one in the junkyard. They charged me like, I don't know, like $50. And I got another one off Marketplace for like $150. And then I combined the two of them to make a hybrid, and it's fine. The manifold, because I have such a weird thing going on, like flipping a stock manifold works for a lot of Ford guys, but I have a different chassis, and then my cab's kind of where I felt like putting it, and my engine's kind of where I felt like putting it. So it made it so that the 35, 45 degree angle of a flipped manifold wasn't going to work for me. And I found an industrial one that's straight up, the industrial one that's down into the back came on my engine. That didn't work for me either. But I found one that was straight up and down on eBay, and that worked out great for me. And it was $85, and it was the last one they had. Let's see if I can find you a picture of that. So, yeah. That's how this is how that looks. So my turbo is straight up, and now I'm going to have to go back. I'm going to have to get funky with the downpipe, but it's not really a big deal. Not the biggest deal, anyway. Paint. I painted the truck. I painted the cab and chassis and everything with Rust-Oleum. That is all on the channel. Here it is. That's the original paint, and then I came along and screwed it up with clear coat, but I made it work because I put pearl in this clear coat. It made the paint look splotchy. Oopsie doopsie. I fixed it with a red stripe. Thank you, Dennis. It's good advice. I actually, it looks like my building now, and I'm happy with how it looks. So, and then there was some clear coat. Clear coat was, you see how it matches the building? I think clear coat was like $80, $90. So, I mean, sandpaper, everything, $450. Harbor Freight purple gun. no big deal. The engine, again, I went to pick this up on the channel. It was a marketplace find. It was $600. The guy had swapped to a P pump because he felt that his VE pump was inadequate in his first gen. And that, so I didn't have any accessories, and that's something you shouldn't do. But I actually turned around. I got it from the Fort Wayne, Indiana area, where Cummins seemed to be really, really common. Go figure. So I went right back like the next week, and I found another guy who had taken a bunch of engines apart because he was going to make the best one ever, and he had 2.5 engines worth of accessories. So I got him for $200, and now I have balancers and brackets and everything I need. So, and spare parts, which is good because I broke one of the accessory brackets screwing around prying on it with pipe. But that brings my total to more than I thought, of about $6,100. So I'm gonna say that all in, you know, by the time I do the drive shaft, by the time I plumb the brakes, it's hooked to the fuel tank right now. It draws fuel. It runs. I'm probably gonna be like $7,500 into this thing before, you know, to drive it up and down the road and put a plate on it. So, and that's including a truck, and that's nowhere near $10,000 for a swap. I easily could have gotten there. One of the reasons why I rejected the idea of doing a Cummins swap is because I thought they were so expensive for so long. But I was wrong, and it's just a matter of finding a good deal and having money on hand when that good deal presents itself. And my wife's been up here printing and not cleaning up after herself. You know, being prepared to take advantage of said good deal. So, can you do it on a budget? I guess that depends on what your budget is. You can't do it for $500. I highly doubt. If we were to remove from this, I'll just remove from this the cost of stuff like the truck and the frame and the cab and the front clip and the seat. So the paint. We're at $3,500 for the Cummins swap running. I took the cost of the, I left the cost of the adapter in and the cost of the clutch in and the cost of the machining in. If you started with a ZF5 truck, this is where you'd be, $3,500. So, you know, yeah, you can do it on a budget. I'm like a working man. If you have enough money to contemplate a swap, like disposable income, your bills are paid, you live in a home, you're not at your mom's, you're not collecting Social Security or something, yes, you can do this affordably if you find a running engine and use it as is. Because I can find engines, and I went through this with the Cummins guys, I can find engines that run for $1,000 every day of the week. And if that was not in my area, I would leave my area. Just like there's no rust-free cabs in my area, I left my area. And I went to where there are rust-free cabs. And I have one now. And I didn't pay a lot of money for it. And I did get to have a cool road trip and go to Uranus. So, with that, memories of Uranus fresh in our mind, I'm going to say thank you for watching, guys. And we'll see you next time on The Driveway Engineer. If you have any questions, you have any arguments, let me know down below. See ya.